Good evening, I'm Prasad, and this is KiniNews. Najib Abdul Razak walked into a chicken rice shop earlier this year. He didn't sign in or check his temperature, and it was all caught on video. Malu apa bosku? But he did own up to it at the time and said he would pay the fine, and the fine is finally here. But the restaurant will have to pay triple what Najib has to pay. Former Prime Minister Najib Abdul Razak will be slapped with 2 compounds, totaling 3,000 ringgit for not signing in and checking his temperature at a chicken rice shop in Bukit Bintang in March this year. Najib will be compounded 1,500 for each violation. Meanwhile, the manager of the Nasi, Ayam, Hainan, Chee, Meng restaurant will be slapped with a heftier 10,000 ringgit compound for failing to instruct Najib to comply with the standard operating procedures to curb the spread of COVID-19. Wangi District Police Chief Mohamad Zainal Abdullah said the fines were based on the decision by the Attorney General's chambers after receiving the investigation paper from the police. Previously, Najib had urged the authorities to issue him with a fine because he did not believe in double standards. Video clips of Najib and his entourage, which included the reinstated police escort arriving at the chicken rice shop, went viral earlier this year. It appears Kuala Lumpur will be taking a very different approach to Ramadan bazaars during the MCO compared to Selangor. Ramadan and Aidilfitri bazaars in Kuala Lumpur will be allowed to operate during the movement control order period. However, its operating hours will be shortened.
Bazar Ramadan boleh diteruskan. Walaupun besok bermula PKP, bazar Ramadan boleh diteruskan, cuma tempoh operasi bazar Ramadan 5 jam.
Federal Territories Minister Musa said that Ramadan bazaars will be allowed to operate from 3 p.m. to 8 p.m, while Aidilfitri bazaars can operate from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m.
Kita menyeru pada pengunjung-pengunjung bazar yang perlu nak ke sana membeli, cuba datang pada waktu yang kurang, yang tidak begitu ramai. Bukan macam nak menghadiri pesta, cari masa paling ramai, masa itulah kita suka pergi beramai-ramai. Elakkan situasi begitu. Pasar malam juga boleh beroperasi juga dengan time frame yang telah ditetapkan.
Kuala Lumpur is taking a more relaxed approach to the bazaars compared to Selangor, which will be shutting down all of its bazaars in districts under the MCO. However, Selangor Menteri Besar Amiruddin Shari said the Ramadan bazaar closure will only take effect starting Saturday to allow traders to clear their stock. Speaking of Ramadan bazaars, Anwar Ibrahim doesn't think they should be shut down during the MCO. But before we get into that, if you'd like to see more content like this, check the link in the description and consider being a contributor. Opposition leader Anwar Ibrahim said a blanket ban on Ramadan bazaars in areas under the movement control order is not the best way to curb the spread of COVID-19. On top of the economic strain placed on traders due to the loss of income, Anwar said that shutting down Ramadan bazaars and stalls was not a logical way to contain the disease.
Jadi masalahnya bukan pasar Ramadan, bukan masalah gerai, dan penyelesaiannya bukan untuk merobohkan gerai dan menyusahkan orang yang sudah hidup susah, kemudian dirampas segala peralatan mereka. Ini bukan cara yang siuman untuk kita lakukan. Harus ada pertimbangan ini. Penyelesaiannya adalah memastikan jarak itu dijaga dan dikawal. Kawasan masuk umpamanya, kawasan masuk gerai itu dihalang sehingga supaya jangan sesak.
Meanwhile, Persatuan Pengguna Melayu Malaysia President Chee Johan has appealed to the government not to completely restrict dining in at restaurants under the latest MCO, but to consider allowing groups of 2 instead. He said since last year's MCO, there have been many restaurants that were affected by the decision not to allow dining in. He added that once allowed to operate even with a limited number under SOPs, restaurant operators could breathe a sigh of relief as they could run their businesses as usual even with a sharply reduced income. His views were echoed by Malaysian Indian Restaurants Owners Association President J. Suresh, who made the same appeal, saying it would have a bad effect on the economy if restaurants were not allowed to operate with dine-in options. People in Kelantan just don't seem interested in registering for the vaccine based on the current data, and many of those who did register simply don't show up. 1,411 senior citizens in Kelantan failed to show up for their COVID-19 vaccine appointment despite registering for the vaccine. Kelantan Health Department Director Zaini Hussain said between April 22nd and May 4th, a total of 8,106 senior citizens were supposed to receive their COVID-19 vaccines, but 17.4% of them just didn't show up. Speaking to Malaysia Kini, he said the reason for this is unknown. Phase 2 of the COVID-19 immunisation plan started on April 19th with a focus on senior citizens, the ill and disabled. In Kelantan, Phase 2 began on April 22nd. To date, Kelantan has the second lowest registration rate for the COVID-19 vaccine after Sabah. As of May 4th, a total of 328,000 people in Kelantan, or around 26.70% of the state's population, have registered for the COVID-19 vaccine. Sabah's registration stands at 16.10%. All other states have at least 30% of their population registered for the COVID-19 vaccine.
Shellfish, red meat, and beer. If you love indulging in these foods, you may end up with high uric acid level in your blood. These foods consist high level of purine, a substance that will eventually break down into uric acid and be excreted through our urine. It is recommended that the amount of dietary purines should be kept between 600 to 1000 milligrams per day. Having too much uric acid in your blood can cause attacks of gout. It can also cause kidney stones and blockage in the kidney. The crystallization of the excessive uric acid in your blood can be eased by reducing purine-rich food to only 100 to 150 milligrams daily, maintaining a healthy lifestyle, and consuming urinary alkalinizer like Ural. It consists of sodium bicarbonate, citric acid, and sodium citrate that increases the urinary pH and solubility of uric acid to prevent crystallization. Best of all, it's lemon-flavored and sugar-free. Ural, effective urinary alkalinizer. Neutralize your uric acid problem now.
I'm sure most BMW drivers are nice people, but you know the stereotype. This next video won't exactly be helping their case. It may be a 1 Series BMW, but it's got an attitude that would put even a 7 Series to shame. A car driver allegedly attempted to run over a member of the People's Volunteer Corps in front of a school in Shah Alam. In a police report, Rela officer Asjanagan said the incident happened when he was monitoring traffic along Jalan Anggrek Doritis near SMK Kota Kemuning in Shah Alam at around 5:20 p.m. yesterday. According to him, the road has been turned into a one-way street under the instruction of the school principal and the Residents Association during the peak hour for the safety of the students. However, the car entered the lane from the opposite side, and Asjanagan tried to stop the vehicle, but the driver allegedly attempted to run him over. He then asked the driver to turn around, but he refused. Janagan also mentioned in his report, which was filed in Shah Alam this morning, that the car driven had obstructed a public officer from carrying out his duty. The incident was captured in a short video clip that showed a man clad in a Rela uniform standing in front of a car. The car then reversed before slowly going forward, which forced him to move aside. And that is all from me today. For more stories, you can go to KiniTV.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube and Facebook for the latest news updates. If you'd like to support independent media, do consider subscribing to MalaysiaKini.com. For more than the 50 supporters who have contributed to Kini TV in the last 2 weeks, we thank you sincerely. Keep it coming because it really helps us continue doing what we do. And don't forget to leave your comments on what you'd like to see us do next. I'm Prasad Michael. Thank you for watching.